when I look at Notre Dame's class, you got to tip the cap. I mean, they got Keon Keeley in the boat very early on. And Keon Keeley's a guy now that Alabama is going after. Florida's after him. I'm sure Georgia's probably kicked the tires. And to me, some of those big SEC players, they kind of recruit at their own pace, beat at their own drum. And we'll see what happens. I think holding on to Keon Keeley for them is going to be extremely important. And yes, sure, he's still committed to Notre Dame. He's saying all the right things, but we've seen this story plenty of times before. I mean, you take the visits, rule of thumb in recruiting is follow the visits, and he is checking out those other schools. So I'm interested to see if they hold on to him. And but Marcus Freeman, I think what they've done impressive. Another guy they're in on right now, Caleb Downs, one of my favorite prospects in the class of 2023, our number one ranked safety, younger brother of Josh Downs, the star wide receiver at North Carolina. I think he's going to be up there in a few weeks for the Irish's spring game. I mean, if they can get him in the fold, that's essentially like another Kyle Hamilton. I mean, obviously different play styles and all that stuff, but he is that talented. I think a guy who can be an impact player. I mean, if we're playing a video game, you can put that star underneath him, and when you move him around the field, because I think he would be able to do a ton of different things. So I've been impressed with what Notre Dame has done so far here on the trail.
I know you guys don't cover Notre Dame, like on a daily basis, but are you feeling a different vibe from this staff than what you got with Brian Kelly's staff? I mean, they've recruited well. They're one of the top 10 recruiters annually on average. But do you get a different feel or vibe from this staff that's causing them this early vibe?
I feel like it's emphasized more. That's no shock to me personally with Marcus Freeman. I think recruiting is at the forefront of his agenda and his agenda for that staff, and that showed up already. They finished with a top 10 finish last year. They're off to a great start this year. Their number one recruiting class so far in 2023. Andrew mentioned Keon Keeley in the boat. They were on Keon Keeley before everybody else, so that was a great pickup for them. Now they got to hold on the rest of the way, but Dante Moore would be the big piece. And offensively, I think that's where they got to get right. I think what you've seen so far since Marcus Freeman has been there, you've seen a little bit of his identity and his aggression on the defensive side of the football. I thought their defensive class last year was really, really good. I think they're just missing that one piece, that kind of alpha at the quarterback position. They haven't really had that in the past. For Marcus Freeman, if he can get Dante Moore in the boat, we've talked about Carnell Tate a little bit, keep Keon Keeley. They've done a tremendous job over the last 2 years. They're going to have some top caliber talent. And I think from them, it's going good to great. It's not like Brian Kelly didn't recruit well at Notre Dame. I think what Marcus Freeman's trying to do is move the needle just a little bit more. That way, when they're in playoff contention and they're facing Georgia, Alabama, the Ohio States of the world, it's a little bit more of an equal playing field.